Welcome back to Business Tonight. Can't stop David from singing tonight. He's got me in stitches throughout these breaks. We move on now to another conversation with the Chief Executive of the Mineworkers Investment Company. That's Mary Bomela. Mary, thank you for making the time to join us. Now, we know that the MIC doesn't invest directly in mining companies. Yeah. Just remind us again, what is the investment philosophy of the MIC and how do you go about making sure you get good returns on the investments that you make?
Okay. Maybe just a step back to take you through how we are linked to the mining industry. So the MIC was formed 1995, 20 years ago, with the main sole aim of providing funding to the MIT, which is its shareholder. And they have social projects for their beneficiary base who are members of the NUM, and hence the link and the name, the Mineworkers Investment Company. But in terms of how we invest, I mean, we excluded from investing in the mining industry and the construction industry. Why is that? Simply because that's where the NUM organizes. So you don't want to be having conflict in the same industry where they do organize.
And you don't want your returns to be undermined by strikes.
Well, if you want to put it that way. But I think you just make sure that you don't want to have conflict in the investments where you are. So we don't invest in competing assets simply because we are very active equity holders. Yeah. We hold a diversified investment portfolio, and we've got a few pillars. We are not adverse to sin assets, as some call it, and as long as it's legal and it's done in the correct way.
Well, you've brought us to the first sin asset that we've got to talk about. Let's talk gambling and that particular space. I mean, there's been a lot of focus on this brewing potential transaction with Sun International and Piermont. We know that you own 25% of Piermont. What is your position in that game right now?
I mean, we've been invested with Piermont for more than 10 years. Simply that shows that we are a long-term investor in how we invest and we see our investments. And, you know, as an investor, you find yourself in a position where other people will come in and they find your assets attractive. Yeah. And with an attractive price, you know, we always say everybody's a set at the right price. And in this particular case, that's exactly what's happened. So it's not a matter that we did not want, we wanted to get rid of Piermont as such. Right. It was more the fact that we got an offer, and we've got other shareholders that are there with us that thought that this would be a good...
What kind of premium are we talking about on the price? Because if you believe in a company like Piermont and you believe in steady growth in the sector, you're saying you've got to pay a premium for the returns we're going to get down the line, which we're now going to miss out of, so that price has to reflect that, does it?
No, it does. I can't say, you know, the real premium, but it's a good price. Put it that way. For us to sell, we believe that is a good price for the investment. At the moment, we are weighing our options in terms of whether we stay in with Sun International or whether we look at other options. So we would not necessarily be out of the investment. We like the industry. We know it well. And it's shown us steady growth over the years. And for that reason, you know, you need to consider all your options that are available to you.
You've also had sort of a recent or increased your exposure in the industrials with Torre. Talk to us a little bit about that and how it fits into your broader strategy.
So if you look at our investment portfolio, actually a large part of it is in industrials. We do like industrials. They're the less sexy investments, as we call them. However, what we find is that they're not cyclical. And in that way, when things are bad, like at the moment when there's a slowdown in the economy, they're able to weather the storm. Torre is one of those investments that listed in 2012, and if you look at their growth, they started with a market cap of 100 million rand. Today they're over 2 billion rand market cap. And therefore we see the growth story together with Torre. They are high growth investment that would add to our growth in our NAV. I mean, our strategic goals are to grow our NAV and to also invest in dividend-paying investments. And Torre would definitely be one that would support our NAV growth. We've grown our NAV from a start of 3 million rand seed capital in 1995. Today we're sitting with our NAV at over 5 billion rand.
Wow, that's quite a record there. The MIC, if it were not for the name, Mineworkers Investment Company, in what other respect is it a particular kind of investment house, or is it simply called that and actually you could be any one of a number of investment holdings? What is it about you that's special?
I think what differentiates the MIC is, one, our long-term views. So unlike a private equity fund, you don't have a specific time frame in which you need to exit your investments, and therefore that makes sure that you can ride the waves with your investments when they're going up and down, and you're in there for the long haul. We're active, we're not passive investors at all, so we get to learn the businesses, we get to be involved strategically on all the boards of our investee companies, and we also help our companies with a transformation agenda to make sure that they do transform. So if you look at the old codes, at least 70% of our businesses were at least a level 2. And that's what we pride ourselves in terms of helping the businesses grow, because we've got a long-term vision and sustainability at the back of my minds, and also making sure that they do transform along the way.
But of course, Mary, I mean, you're celebrating 20 years of your existence in 2015, and that correlates quite nicely with South Africa's democratic journey. And so you've got a really nice bird's eye view over the actual pace of transformation. You've just given us some numbers, but what would be the nuances behind those numbers? Is the pace, from your point of view, happening at the required pace, and is the depth of transformation in corporate South Africa as deep as one would like to believe it is, just from the surface level?
To be honest, I think the pace has been too slow. When you look at the last 20 years, it's been a journey, I think, that most corporates have been on in terms of trying to find out exactly how to go about it. But I also feel that a lot of corporates would like to make this as a compliance tick box exercise, and hence the slow pace of transformation in this country. So I think that it's time that we up the game in transformation, that it's seen as a business imperative instead of it being seen as a tick box exercise just for compliance purposes. I think that we can do better than where we are already.
Well, I think that's a beautiful line to leave it on. It's time that we upped the game. That's the Chief Executive of the Mineworkers Investment Company, Mary Bomela.